Welcome to Ramble On, counseling reflections on life and love, brought to you by Rambler Counseling NL. Hi there, Lucy here with another episode of Ramble On. I want to talk a little bit today about supporting our friends. I had a friend come to me, and they had another friend who they know is in a bad situation, a bad relationship, possibly abusive, but definitely toxic. And, sometimes we see our friends and our family members in situations that are harmful to them. And we just want to jump in there and rescue them and give them a shake and be like, what are you doing? You need to get out of this situation. You need to leave this person. And as much as we want to help them, that's not always the best solution, is to tell them what to do. So how do we support that friend or that family member who is in a hard place or is in a bad relationship? And, from the outside, it can be very easy to see these things. But how do we support them in a way that's going to actually help them move forward? So, first of all, while the solution from the outside can seem very simple, and we can sometimes see what's happening a lot clearer than the person who's in the relationship, we don't always see the details and the intricacies of what is happening. So while we see that it's harmful to them and impacting their life in a harmful way, it may be worse, or it may be not as bad as we seem. We may be seeing one side of it. We don't really know. So it's really important to sort of not judge those situations too harshly, but more importantly, focus on the person who's in it and how we can support them, knowing that we don't have all the details. In some cases, we look at them and say, well, why don't you just leave? It's bad. They're confiding in you. They're sharing with you what's happening. And maybe they're sharing that it is really bad. But fear, emotional attachment, parenting, having kids, financial concerns, fear of change, the shame that they have sometimes, or the beliefs that they have around marriage and commitment can really trap a person in those situations. So what might look irrational from the outside often makes sense to the person on the inside as to why they want to stay. And sometimes too, if the situation is really bad, it can be very scary to think about trying to get out. And we can talk about that more in a minute. So again, even as a close friend, we don't always know the whole story. Many abusive or toxic partners, and this is not a gendered thing. Males can be abusive, toxic partners, and women can be abusive, toxic partners. I have seen both. It is not a gendered experience. While statistically, the impact of domestic violence is statistically rampant in Newfoundland, unfortunately, and male abusers are certainly more common or more talked about or more externalized. Women are also can be the abuser as well. And oftentimes that person who is on the side of inflicting harm can appear to the rest of the world and to the rest of the people in their lives as being charming or lovely and sort of put on a bit of a performance. So it's never really clear what that person is like inside the relationship. So that's an important note. So your friend who is struggling and may not feel safe enough or be in a position or be in a place where they're strong enough to leave that relationship, they cannot see the truth just yet. Maybe they're experiencing some isolation, some shame around that. Maybe they're trying to be loyal to that partner. And so leaving doesn't happen usually all at once. It happens in multiple stages. So to support that person, the last thing we want to do is tell them what to do, give them ultimatums. I will not be your friend unless you leave this boyfriend because he's being a jerk. That is not supportive. Okay. If they are truly your friend, you can do things like maintain the connection with that friend, get them out for some fun, show them who they are, make them, you know, have some joy and lightness in their life that connects them to their own identity, and that gives them that internal strength of knowing who they are. Sometimes tapping into the things that you love to do and pulling them out of that situation as a good friend, doing fun things, can really help them feel strong and encouraged to be who they are. And then when we start speaking up and being who we are, that can often lead to the early stages of getting out of that relationship. So being non-judgmental is very important. Listening with compassion versus coming up with solutions and trying to fix everything. So just listening, allowing them a safe space to share with you is really important. You can also you can offer practical support, childcare. You can bring them to appointments. You can go over and do some clean their house with them, do some chores with them. Again, supportive things that allow them some space to think about what's happening in their relationship and allow them to gather some strength. Sometimes the overwhelm that we feel as parents and working parents and people in those relationships don't have time or space to even process what's happening. So we can support them through non-judgmental listening, practical support. We can validate their feelings by, again, saying to them, yes, this is not healthy. This is not the right thing. And validating them by saying, if it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. Just to let them know that you're there. And it can be a phone call. If that person is maybe a stay-at-home mom and you're a working parent and maybe you don't have a lot of time to connect, phone calls, text messages, anything just to let them know that you're there, so that when they are ready to reach out or they are ready to make some moves to get out of that relationship, they have your support. So we offer laughter, friendship, we offer fun, and that can help them return to who they are. So just as a closing reflection, I will say that as someone who did have to get out of a toxic situation, I had some beautiful friends that supported me through it. I never felt judged by them. They were there for me. They offered me help, they offered me rides, and it was one of the key things that helped me get out of that situation. So if you are a friend who is witnessing an abusive situation or a toxic relationship and you're not sure what to do to support that friend, I would encourage you to be there, be a listening space. Um, you can encourage them to reach out to counseling. You can encourage them to reach out to family members that they feel safe with, but keep them talking, keep them connected to themselves, and just be a good friend. Unfortunately, everyone is on their own journey and they have to get to that place of being comfortable leaving the relationship on their own. But you can certainly be a compassionate, supportive friend. So take care and hold space for your friends. See you soon. For more information or to book an appointment, check out ramblercounselingnl.ca or click on the booking links in my Instagram and Facebook bios. See you soon.